Hello, welcome to Trish's Cards and Crafts and the Stepped Up on Sunday, which is a little bit later than planned. Everything's been a little bit touch and go this weekend and a bit out of the ordinary, so I'm afraid I'm a bit later doing this than usual. This is the card that I'm making today. I've seen a couple of different cards that are similar to this. One was all white with three different white squares that were embossed, and then another one I saw by somebody else, and I can't remember either's names. I'll try and make sure I put them in the comments below. And they did another patchwork card, but with different it was with with the stamps, but with different papers. So I thought, well, I'll try and do a little bit of both and use the papers from the set, but also I'll use the two of the embossing folders that were used on the other one, because I thought it's nice to use, being as I was using plain colours, because I thought I'll change it up a little bit. I would use these embossing folders, which are two of the three of the basics embossing folders. This one here, basics 3D embossing folders. So you've got this dotty one, which I didn't want to use for this particular project, and then you've got this like crosshatch, and this one which is a bit like a star flower sort of effect. I don't know whether they called anything in particular. Don't think so. No. Yeah, they're not called anything in particular, but those are the two that I'll be using today, because the papers that I chose, I'll show you now. Got this one here. I chose this one here, this particular pattern off this sheet that's got lots of different sort of panels that you could use for cards on, and I thought I'd use this one, and I'm using the back of it as well. So I'm using the front and the back of this one, and then I'm using the back of this one as well. So I'm using this one. So this is this paper, and then those two are the same piece, but one's the back and one's the front. And I just thought it might be nice to sort of change it up a little bit. And instead of just using the daisies all the time, I've got the daisies using the stamps on the front, and I've actually got them inside and on the envelope. But I've also used a different sentiment, because I used the one that I wanted to use on the front, and then this one's from the something else I think I said is the Peaceful Moments stamp set as well. I've used some ribbon on this one which had some pretty peacock in it, that I've got in my stash. It's retired ribbon, but I thought for this card I'll use some of this wild wheat ribbon. Okay, so this is the textured ribbon, 3/8 of an inch, and that's all it's called, wild wheat. Okay, so I'm going to use that one for this card, the card I'm going to make now. So let's make a start. So I've got all the pieces. Most of the pieces are already done. I'm using a white base for my card, a white C6 card, A6 card, and C6 envelope. So this is the card base and the envelope. That's just the same as normal. And then I have punched out. I'm using a 2-inch circle punch and the 2 3/8 inch punch. So I've got that in white and this in Pretty Peacock. So those two. And then I've got a panel which is in Pretty Peacock. This one is just is it 1/8 of an inch? No, 1/4 of an inch smaller than the size of the card. So it's 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and this panel is another 1/4 of an inch smaller again, so there's an 1/8 of an inch all round. So this one is 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. Yeah, there we go. So those are the pieces of paper I've used. I've got some strips. I've cut these to be at least 5 inches long. They're a little bit more than that, but it doesn't matter. They are 1 1/4 inch wide, 1 1/4 inches wide. So they're all the same width. Now, when the person that I saw making the card up, that I was sort of basing it on loosely, cut them 1 1/4 inches wide so that they were squares. But when I tried making this one up, they didn't fit with any space between them. They were too close, but it was too wide. So I'm keeping to the 1 1/4, so it'll be 1 1/4 wide, but it'll only be 1 1/8 inch deep. So it'll be a rectangle rather than a square. Otherwise, there's no sort of gaps between them, so you can't leave a little border around them so that they show up nicely. So that's what we're going to be doing. I've got a scrap of white to print, to stamp the flower onto as well. So we'll do that one in a bit. So first of all, I'm going to cut these up with my trimmer. You'll be glad to know I haven't got my guillotine upstairs, so it's downstairs at the moment, so I won't be using that. I think I will go this way. So it's just, these are going to just be 1 1/8 of an inch wide, these squares, and I need 4 of them. 1 1/8 instead of 1 1/4. So I need 4 of each of these. I didn't emboss this paper because I thought it was nice on its own without being embossed, but I did emboss the others just to give them a bit of texture and to make them a little bit different. So just to give it, because there was no pattern on them as such, I thought I'd use the embossing folders to give them a bit of texture. So that's the difference between, that's why I did that with these, because I thought they're a bit plain. Could have used them plain. If you haven't got any embossing folders, you don't have to use these anyway, but if you've got some embossing folders, then you can use whatever you've got. But if you haven't, it doesn't really matter, you can use them plain. If you've got different pattern papers, you can use those. It doesn't have to be the ones that I've used at all. So there's 4 of those, and then I've got 4, I want 4 of these, so I'm going to use this end. So that's the first one. Because after I'd made them, I then cut off an 1/8 of an inch afterwards, because they just weren't going to fit inside the panel that I'd cut off. So, and the last one. There we go. So they're all done now. So I'm just going to stick them onto the panel. Now you can have a look, see how you want to do it. With these, they sort of go, once you get the orientation right. I'm going to put that one there, and there, and there. Oops, that's not the right way round. I don't think. That's longer. No, that's the right way round. Make them so you'll be able to see. So you can plan your pattern out first if you want to. I'm just doing this to show you how I did it, the first one. So once they're all on, you can just about see where they need to go when you stick them down. So I don't want too much of a gap in the middle either. I'd rather have a gap on the ends, a small amount. So just move these over. It would be better, if you can, to try and keep them in a straight line. And the lady that did it, that I saw on YouTube, she used a piece of post-it note, but she had a roll of it and she used that to put across underneath. When she'd stuck the first one down, then she used the post-it note to keep them straight. So I might have a go with that next. So I'm just placing them more or less where I want them to be, and then I'm going to take these away just for now, and I'm going to stick the first one down. I'm going to stick this one down first. Typical. It's not very easy. If I put the green underneath, you'll be able to see better where they are, where the it's not easy to see on the screen how much of a gap is there. So let's just put those where I want them. There we go, that's better. So that will be there. You can actually see now where the margins are around them all the way. Okay. It'll be different once it's stuck down anyway, but you can see it a bit better that way. So I'm going to stick this one down first, and I'm using some Tombow to glue them with. And this is going to be the first one. Right, now hopefully that's in the right place. I want to make sure I've got a gap. Could go over a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to get it moved now. But there we go, that'll do. And now, before I stick the others down, I've got some, I should have some somewhere, some post-it note tape, which seems to have gone walkabouts, which isn't a lot of use to me, if it has. I will use this instead. This is similar. I managed to find this in Lidl's or Aldi's a while ago, and it's just try and make sure that is straight, and then I will be able to put these up against that line so they'll stay straight, hopefully. So we can start sticking the rest of these down now. So just put some glue on the back, try and get it reasonably close to that. Oops. Don't want to make too much of a gap, but I want to make sure that there's a gap. Yeah, that'll be okay. And then we'll stick these down. They're not in exactly the same order as the previous card, but it doesn't really matter. You can do it in any order you like. So there's this one, there we go. And then the final pink one. Sorry, I think I might need a drink. So there we go. So that's the first row down. Take this one off for a minute. And this is going to go on first. Here. Sorry. got a drink a second. Ooh. It's okay, it's only water. Oh, right. Then the patterned one. You don't need too much glue. Just want to make sure that the corners go down. And again, this one's nice now because you've got the straight line, so you can just follow the edges around. And then the pink. Because they're embossed, it is better almost to use the liquid glue because you have a better traction, and it'll stick down better with that. So, and the last one for this row. Again, you could use 4 different patterns, and then you only need to use 1 on each row, but I've used 3 different ones and used 2 of 1 on each row and 1 of the others. It's completely up to you how you do it. You could just use 2 and just alternate them. And there we go. But it's completely up to you how you do it, and you can play about with them to your heart's content. If you did them square, you could cut them in half diagonally, and you could do a pattern that way. You can play about and try different patterns and different textures, or you can use. Well, I saw one that looked really nice with a patchwork. If you have a look, Google them, or look on Pinterest, or you can look on YouTube, and you'll find that there's lots of different quilted patterns about, and I think it's quite nice that you can have a look and you can see what you like before you actually try it out, and then you can try them out for yourself. Yeah, the one that I saw that was cut in half diagonally, they had one pattern on one side and then the white on the other, and they did that, alternated those, and that looked really effective as well. So there we have our I'll put that on there for now, our quilted base panel. So that's done, or background panel, and we can now stick the card together. So I'm going to stick my pretty peacock panel down first. I don't want that to fall off. And there. And try and make sure I've got an equal border all the way around. And then I'm going to put my panel on top. I mean, if you use different patterns, different papers, every card will look different. So this looks completely different from the 2 that I saw before. One was completely white anyway, so of course it would look different to that because I'm using colours. But the other lady had used the Countryside Inn papers, I think it was, and they looked really nice because they were all different tones of blue, and that looked really effective. So that's another pattern that you could use. You could use any papers, but again, I wouldn't have used, I don't think, the big patterns like with this card here. If you tried to use that in the squares, you would, pardon me, sorry, you wouldn't get a lot of the pattern showing through very easily. It would be, I think it's too big. I think if you've got smaller patterned papers, maybe something like, I've got a few different bits lying around, like this pattern, that would be nice as to do for an alternative. again, if you wanted to, you could probably just cut up that and use different bits of it. You've got that stripe on the back, you could use both of those and alternate those. Again, you can use whatever you've got and try them out and see how they go. So that is our card base made, and the back part. So now we've just got the stamping to do. So, oops, I'm going to stamp onto here with my sentiment, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. I couldn't see where I put it. So I'm going to put that behind it because I want to be able to see, which I didn't see last time, and I couldn't see that I got to the edge. So I'm using Pretty Peacock for my sentiment, and wishing you the brightest birthday. And I need to make sure that I'm just about inside the circle, which I think I am. Hope my head's not in the way. But I needed to see where that was. So there we go. Just take that off. So, ooh, it just got the B just over, but it doesn't matter because it won't hurt. You're not going to see that anyway. And then I'm using this. I'm just bringing a piece of scrap paper in because I'm going to stamp this, and it will go off the. I am going to stamp it onto there first anyway, because I find that this is very juicy, Pretty Peacock pad, and it will be too dark. So I want it a little bit lighter. So that's the one that I'm going to stamp onto there. So that's that bit done. And now I've got my piece of scrap card. And I'm going to ink up again, stamp off, and stamp on here. And I'm also going to use I'll do the inside as well, and my envelope. We'll get all the one colour done first. So inside I'm going to use the wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. It's not very straight on my block, so my block is going to be slightly askew, but hopefully the sentiment will be straight. So there we go, here's my sentiment. And I'm going to use this daisy flower instead on the inside. And I'm stamping off and stamping on. And then I'm going to do the same thing, same flower on my envelope. And that way up. Right, and wrong way. I want to do it this side. Just in time. There we go. Here we go. Right, so that's all of the Pretty Peacock. Now for my wild wheat. I'm going to do the centres of my flowers with wild wheat, and that is here behind me. And I'm going to stamp these off as well, so they're not quite as strong as they were. Yeah, that's right. So what am I doing? Stamp off and onto there. Those are done. And this one here. Stamp off. And in the centre there. And I'm going to put one on here. Off and on. There we go. So that's that one. So all my stamping is now done. So all I've got to do now is cut this out. Use my snips. I'll try, I'm just going to fussy cut this out and leave a little border around here. Sorry, my daughter's sending me a message, and unfortunately I put the sound up on my iPad and it's coming up on my iPad. So yeah, so first of all my phone goes off, so my watch tells me that somebody's trying to phone me, but I'm actually using my phone to record the video, so I can't answer it anyway. Not that I would have, because I'm in the middle of talking to you. And then the other daughter is also sending me pictures and things, messages of she's trying to eat a little bit more healthily. She's decided she's going to, so we went shopping yesterday to buy some healthy foods and so she was cooking herself something for a tea, so I think she's just sent me some photos of what she's done, what she's made. So I've cut that out, and now we can stick this one over here like that. So I'm going to use some mini dimensionals on here. So I've got these, and I'm going to put one at the top here, and then I'm going to put some by the petals on the backs. I'm not going to go right to the edge because this is going to be over the edge once it's stuck on. Before I do that, I'm going to stick this onto the Pretty Peacock background. So I'm going to actually see if I can get that in the right place. So, or shall I just turn it over, use the other side? Yes, I think I will. It's not going to hurt. So again, I'm going to use some Tombow for this. Put that onto here and try and make sure the border all around is even. And then just take the backs off these. So this, if you wanted to post this put this in the post, you might want to leave the, I was going to put the whole thing up on dimensionals again, but if you want to put this in the post, you might either want to leave these off and leave it flat, or when you stick it onto the card, which will be here, you could leave it flat to the card, but I'm going to put it up onto dimensionals as well. But before I actually do that, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to sort the ribbon out first. So that will go on there like that. And we need some ribbon. So I don't think I've used this before. Let's see if I can get this out without taking it all out. Right, I don't need too much. Just want a little bit, and I'm going to cut diagonally like that. Then I'm going to trim the other end so that it's, oops, that's a bit straggly. Oh dear. There we go. That's, maybe I'll just take the whole thing again. That's better. And then I'm going to go in the opposite right direction here. I'm going to go up there like that. So I've got them going in the opposite directions. Still a bit. That's the only problem if you've got woven ribbon. Sometimes they don't always sit very well. Right. Now you can either put this onto stick it onto the card and then put this over the top, which I might do. I might make sure I'm going to put it there. So I need my seal, new stamping seal, and I'm going to put it here. There we go, that should be enough to hold it down. And then I'm going to put this over the top. 2, 3. And I'm going to put that over the top of it there, like that. There we go. So that's my card done, except for some embellishments, and I'm going to use some more of these. They're the 2023-25 in colour dots. I've got just enough of these gold ones left. These are the, I think, yeah, these are the wild wheat, because they're all the same colours as the end colours. So the wild wheat, and this is supposedly wild wheat as well. So I'm going to put one here and one there, and then I'm going to put one down here. Actually, I'm going to see if I can. Oops, no, it stays there. I might have another one, another little one. I'll have to take two now. So one here, and I don't want to use another big one. I'll leave it. We're going to have 4. Don't usually use 4, but they're not in the right place, so it'll be fine. We'll have an even number for today. So there's today's card. So it's got your embossing folders and your quilting pattern. I fussy cut that, but there is a die in the set, but I just didn't want to get the dies out and use my cut and emboss machine, so I'm just fussy cut that. And again, if you haven't got the dies, you can't do it anyway, can you? So if you've just got the stamps, that's fine. I've got my sentiment inside and my stamp, and I've also got it on my envelope. So there is the card and envelope. So the other one I made originally was this one here. So I put the flower on the opposite side for this one, and I used a different ribbon, but other than that, the patterns are slightly different as well. They're in a different order, but no, it's okay. It didn't leave a mark. Yeah, so it doesn't matter which order you put them in. I still think they look quite effective, whichever way round you use them. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, perhaps you could give me a thumbs up. If you enjoy the videos and you'd like to see more of them, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then if you click on the little bell icon, you'll be notified when I post a new video. If you want any of the products that I've been using today, you can find them. They're all in the annual catalogue of the Stampin' Up brochure, this annual Stampin' Up brochure. And you can find my online shop. I'll put the details on in the information below below the video. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope I'll be able to see you again soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye.